Hey folks, welcome to Bear Mountain. Today we're in the garden again, and what we're doing is we're doing a follow-up on, I don't know if you all remember, but we did an experiment between using cut grass as a compost mulch over our bed versus using urban waste compost, and to see what the difference would be in terms of the plants that we're growing on through the fall and into the winter. We're getting near the tail end of winter now, and thought it would be a good time to kind of go over the pros and the cons. What we noticed was, first of all, by using cut grass that didn't have any seed heads on it, we didn't really get any sprouting out of it at all, that was kind of anticipated. When we put that grass down, it was late September, early October, so the grass had a chance to basically dry out into a straw, and it performed pretty well from that standpoint. But one of the things we did notice was that the kale crops and the spinach crops were slower to develop than when we were under using the compost. The straw seemed to kind of slow down the development of the plants, and it was the same thing with the lettuces. They weren't as big as we would have thought, and I don't know if it seems a little strange because the fertility practices on both these beds up to this point were essentially the same, and we had no fertility issues on the summer crop that we had on this bed. So from that perspective, it just didn't seem to make a whole lot of sense, and it may have been a conditions of this bed at this particular point in time, but that was the major thing we noticed differently. The kale is now beginning to pick up and grow in size, and so is the remaining left of the spinach. The lettuce crops, we harvested off for about 6 weeks, I think it was, at least.
I think it was longer.
It's maybe been longer than that. Before we had enough of a killing freezing weather event, and that basically took it out about 2 weeks ago. So the lettuce is done. So basically we've been yanking out all the lettuce crops out of this bed. Didn't bother the kale, and certainly didn't really bother the spinach either. Although I have to say the spinach looks a little beat up because basically we've been taking so many leaves off of it before the freezing event. So it kind of was maybe not the fairest way of measuring because we did harvest quite a bit off of it. So what we're going to do with this bed is I think we're not going to use the grass as a way to go. We didn't really have a big slug problem though.
No,
I mean, that was surprising.
I
thought that was going to be the thing that was going to really knock it down, and that didn't happen at all. So I don't, could have just been luck of the draw. This maybe wasn't a particularly good period of time for the slugs this winter, but they just didn't really take off at this point. So but what we are gonna do is we're gonna go back to the compost model, and we're gonna scrape off this grass as things finish off, put compost on the bed, and then rotate into our summer crops. So let's go over and take a look at the bed that was compost and we grew directly into the urban compost. Okay, this is the bed that we treated after we finished with the summer crops on it. We put compost on it. Our summer crop on this bed was onions, and so they finished up in July. And then we put an urban waste compost layer on of about a 1/2 inch, like we've been doing year after year. We did get a few winter weeds we can still see kind of established in here. That's enough, kitty cat. And that the lettuce variety, interestingly enough, that seems to have made it through the freezing events has been a butter crunch style, and I'm not really sure exactly what the name of that is. We'll post it in the video. We'll go back and look at it.
Figure it out.
Yeah, we got it from Johnny's, so I think we can figure that out pretty fast. Cats are always a problem. You need to get out, bud. Okay, all right. So spinach is doing okay. This is just finishing up for winter time. Yeah, so much for paying attention. And the kale is still, we got a lot that we can harvest off the Red Russian, and we got another variety that's kind of a Savoy type of, I think it's winter boar or dark boar. I'm not really sure the exact name. Winter boar, is that the name of it? And then we have got volunteer garlic. Interestingly enough, this was a garlic bed, what, two seasons ago? So we still get a few little bulblets that sprout up. We're just going to use these kind of like it's elephant garlic, so we're just going to use it kind of like a leek. But other than that, weeds from the standpoint of saying, taking over the bed, it didn't happen, but there is more weeds in this particular bed with the compost relative to the bed that had the grass mulch on it, which I kind of found interesting. But overall, it wasn't anything. It's nothing that's a pain in the rear end or not. And we harvested off of this for a good 2 months. Easy, and we still got at least with the spinach left and the kale left, we probably got another month of harvest left on that. So they worked out pretty good. But I think
for winter, I think it was really good.
Yeah.
I mean, it's tricky to grow in winter. A lot of experience at winter growing. So
right. And the other thing we didn't do, and we didn't do it with either one of these two beds, is we put no frost blanket protection on these things. So we're zone 8B, right?
Huh?
So we're zone 8B, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Zone 8B.
It was available, but we never put it on.
Right. So it was kind of a test to see, just how it would make it through a regular Western Oregon winter, and it actually performed pretty well.
Actually, it was a little cooler at times for Western Oregon. We were in the 20s.
True. 2 weeks ago, we for February, late February, early March, it was definitely colder than normal at that point, and things that actually had begun to grow a little more, and they kind of got, like the lettuce, as you can see on the outside, they got zapped. But everything else seemed to make it okay. So I guess the bottom line of the experiment is, although it worked, I think it had a fertility impact and a delayed impact. We actually started harvesting on the compost bed earlier, and we harvested on it longer.
Yep.
I think just anecdotally as a test here, I think we're just going to go back to the urban compost or our own compost for keeping a surface mulch on. So it was worth a try.
What about the weeds on the bed behind you?
Well, those aren't actually weeds. Those are actually parsnips. We had a parsnip plant last summer.
Couple of them
that went to seed.
Footers.
And the seed stock was like 7 foot tall. I harvested a bunch of seeds off of it, but I didn't realize how much of it escaped on its own. So these parsnips all just kind of germinated on their own, and we actually have been eating them, kind of wild crafting, so to speak.
Baby.
And they're about the size of baby carrots, and so they cook up really nice. But yeah, parsnips around here do pretty well. You don't have to. I don't know why we go through all the effort. We should just go, hey, seeds to the wind. And I guess it's where you want it. Anywho, just want to give you guys an update on it. And unless you got any questions or comments, thoughts?
I was surprised like you. I thought the slugs would get.
Yeah, we didn't really have the slug problem. But that may be a 1 out of 10 you don't have it. So
that's the only thing that I noticed. It was also really great eating, fresh greens in the dead of winter.
Yep. So, folks, as always, stay safe. We'll catch you on the next video, and thank you for watching. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.